Welcome to the CCD podcast. I'm your host, Matt Dixon, and today I'm joined by my very good friend, Steve Allin. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Matt. Pleasure to be here. Good to see you again.
Great to have you on. And I guess quite a few of our viewers will know you as the CEO of Charnwood Molecular. But I suppose we have a few viewers who are not in your exact space. So it'd be good to talk a little bit about who Charnwood are and what you do. As you know, sort of we're interested in corporate development strategy. Talk a little bit about all the exciting stuff that Charnwood's been doing. So yeah,
sounds good.
Tell us what Charnwood do. That'd be a good start.
Okay, yeah, no, perfect. So, well, we are a former academic university spin-off business. Maybe we can talk about the history a little bit later. We've been going for about 22 years now, founded in 1998, but we've developed, I guess, in the last 5 to 6 years into a fully fledged drug discovery and development organization. So the services that we have really span from, with a recent acquisition, which again, I'm sure we'll talk about later, span from discovery biology through computational chemistry, medicinal chemistry, through to what we would call chemical development, which is the transfer of chemical technology from small scale medchem synthesis of a target compound through to, I guess, tens of grams of material, and then out further to early process research and development, where we really develop scalable routes that we can involve tech transfer packages out to larger providers that will do multi-kilo and CGMP activity.
And who are you doing all this for? You have teams of chemists working for big pharma? Is that?
Yeah, so the client base typically really spans everything from VC-funded startups or other university spin-outs through to established biotech, small pharma, probably less big pharma, although we have had recent contracts, continue to do some work for big pharma, but that's less of a market for us at this point in time.
Okay. And I suppose one of the reasons we're speaking today, I've seen you've been hitting my LinkedIn quite a bit with lots of exciting developments since we did a project together a couple of years ago. So you want to tell me a little bit about that and the new building and everything?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, we worked with CCD partners, yourself and Peter, from I'm trying to remember, early 2019 to the point at which we took some investment with Synova Capital, PE company, at the end of 2020. We, since that time, have developed or started to deliver on a business plan that has seen us really expand service lines within the business. So I talked earlier about things like computational chemistry coming on board, and recent acquisition of Aurelia Bioscience to give us that discovery biology platform, but also starting to look at what's required to deliver that plan in terms of future expansion. So we've recently, with Synova's backing, agreed to take on a former AstraZeneca research facility at Charnwood campus in Loughborough. What was a standalone process research building could house 180, 200 scientists, up from our current staff headcount for research chemists of about 60. So significant growth over the next few years. And that recommission is underway. The building should be delivered to us in, I guess, about November time, so 4 to 6 weeks away. And then at that point, we will move to become a single site operation. So the facilities that we have we've got a small facility in Loughborough already. We've got a larger current facility at BioCity in Nottingham. Those groups of scientists and support staff will come together in one site, really excellent world-class research facility in Loughborough, including the biologists, computational chemists. So we'll be a standalone discovery and development organization running through, as I said, from discovery biology to PRD chemistry.
Yeah, it really is amazing seeing it all come together. And you and I, we had a look around the building, and it really is very impressive. I can't wait for it all to be up and running.
No, it's incredible. I mean, my own background as an academic scientist. I mean, I started in Loughborough in 1997, and I've given lectures down at that site, and I've visited that building. And if anyone sort of suggested to me that when we started the spin-off company in 1998, that we'd be moving into what was a former AZ research facility, we would just think you were crazy. But that's just the nature of the business that we created and the growth that we've seen, and it's all built on the excellence that we provide as a service.
Yeah. And so you mentioned moving you currently got facilities at Loughborough and Nottingham, moving them all into one place, and you founded in 1998. How have you sort of grown up to that point? What was it like as a founder starting a business and getting it all underway?
Yeah, it's I guess certainly for the I would probably say first 10 to 15 years, we were probably a typical sort of founder-led organization. We probably, in hindsight, we could have grown it more quickly, but just the history of the business, the two founders, myself and Phil Page, were full-time academics. So the original research that we were doing gave us the opportunity to spin off a business looking at originally some greener, cleaner methods for synthesis. So that was the original reason for the spin out business. But we very quickly, really, I guess, to pay the bills, moved into contract synthesis and research. We grew organically throughout that time. So we spent the first 5 years of our existence within the university environment, just renting laboratory and equipment, employing staff as researchers at the university for the first 5 years. And then we made the jump off-site. We moved to a site that we fitted with laboratories and offices, probably about a mile away from the campus. And at that point, we were a standalone business. And I don't think it was necessarily because we were overly cautious, but we just had other commitments that meant that organic, relatively slow, stable, sustainable organic growth was the right thing to do at that point in time. So as the company progressed, we would, and I guess most founders find this, that you expand, which is always a bit of a step and always a bit of a gamble, and you need to see that growth is sustainable before you move on. And we did this, and the beauty of when we moved to BioCity in 2012, and the advantage of being at BioCity was that the BioCity business model allowed us to expand in a stepwise fashion. So we took our first lab, 10 person lab in 2012. We filled that. We made key appointments that allowed us to move into medicinal chemistry and process chemistry. That supported further growth. We added credibility to our offering and within the marketplace, and then we added another lab and then another lab and so on. Yeah. So by 2017, we were pretty confident, pretty established in the marketplace, pretty confident that the market we're in was seeing consistent and sustainable growth, and that we should start to think about being more ambitious.
So we started serious discussions, I guess, towards the end of 2018. Yeah, you sort of have this stepped approach where it's just going like clockwork, add another lab, fill it. There's lots of demand. And it seemed to be sort of picking up, and there was room to accelerate. And the question was how to do it, I guess.
Yeah, I think that we were pretty confident. The CRO market has been expanding for years. I mean, and the rate of growth predicted is still significant, and probably, I guess, really down to the shift in business model from big pharma originally to start to outsource their research, and that's now just become the norm. That certainly discovery end work is largely carried out by CROs like Charnwood. So when we started talking to you, I mean, that was initiated by a couple of things. Actually, it was initiated by, I guess, a desire to become more ambitious in expanding our horizons in terms of what we could do and what we could offer, including not just capacity, but service line, but also driven by, again, typical for founder-led businesses, I suppose, changing personal circumstances for one of the founders. So Phil Page was certainly approaching retirement within his university career, and as a major shareholder within this business, understandably didn't want to go on forever, and probably it was just the right time to look at options that would allow Phil an appropriate exit. I didn't want to go. I'm still a spring chicken, still lots of life and desire and enthusiasm, and it was just really an opportunity to allow Phil the exit, allow me to stay and grow the business. And we didn't have the connections or network in order to look at what was available as options for us in the marketplace, whereas you guys did.
Yeah, I remember some of those initial meetings. It was great fun, really, because you built this fantastic platform. You got to a point where you had lots of people and there were lots of options in front of you, sort of deciding what you might do. And there's this building that's available, or we could take on more labs at Bi-City. All the different things laid out before us. I particularly enjoy that part of any process, is the kind of the blue sky thinking.
Yeah,
what should happen.
I mean, I think for us, our new home at Charnwood campus, we'd had our eyes on that facility and that building since 2012. So AstraZeneca closed the site in, I think, 2011. 2012, we were looking for additional facilities beyond the ones we had in Loughborough. And, we looked at Bi-City, which was up and running. Really good incubator opportunity for small businesses. But we also talked to the new owners of Charnwood campus back then, and it just wasn't the right time either for them in a business model where they wanted to lease the entire building, and for us who probably wouldn't have had the confidence to take on that sort of commitment at that time. So actually now, working with you guys, with Synova coming in, we had that financial backing. We have the confidence in the market. We've grown 4 or 5-fold since those early days. So it's not just coming home for us in terms of coming back to being a Loughborough-based business, but it's just that it's the right time. It gives us growth potential for the next at least 3 to 5 years. And actually, in terms of what it presents to clients, in terms of opportunities for working with a business that spans such a wide range of services from a single facility, it's not geographically split across either the UK or overseas. I think it'll be a powerful offer in the marketplace.
Yeah, and you mentioned there's Synova coming in and sort of giving you almost the confidence to take quite a big step to this bigger building, and at the same time sort of allowing things to happen with Phil exiting. And so them coming in obviously had a number of benefits to the business. But what's it like being working with them?
It's been interesting. I mean, if just to take a step back, when we went through the process with you guys, I think towards the end we had a couple of trade offers and a number of PE offers. Each had merits, I guess. When we met the Synova guys, it was clear that, well, first of all, we got on personally with them. It became clear to us that they understood the marketplace, the sector we were in. They were just as enthusiastic and ambitious as we were in terms of what we could do together. They were happy to allow us to drive the direction. I mean, clearly there's a business plan, and clearly they're ambitious, and we have to hit the targets that we've set. But the experience to date has been one that has been interesting and enjoyable. And actually, as a founder of a business like this, quite an eye opener in terms of KPI tracking and cash flow and all those sort of things that are really interesting and important for a growing business, but don't come naturally to an original academic founder.
Yeah, so we had a few discussions, didn't we, about how are we going to demonstrate this fantastic thing about the business to people? And a lot of the tracking was in your head, as you mentioned.
Well, it was. It was. It's but you, with a relatively small business, and I think we were in total we were around 50 people when we talked together, and that's probably about the limit at which all that information around capacity, business development, profit margins, all that sort of stuff. It's probably the limit of information you can keep in your head. And it's not a great thing to be in your head. It needs to be down so that, I mean, just for risk management perspective, but it's, we operated in a certain way. It's been an interesting challenge to move to systems where, there's a wider understanding across the senior management team of things that are important to the business that we need to track, we need to keep on top on, that will allow us to plan, not just operationally but financially, for an ambitious growth plan.
Yeah. So you've got sort of new systems, you've got new people at the top.
Yeah, it was important that post Synova deal, so early 2020, that we brought in people that had experience of rapidly growing businesses. Typical systems might be, for example, we appointed a Trevor Nolan as Chief Financial Officer. So that financial oversight is important, not just for the investors, but, for us operationally in terms of how we grow this business. And, Trevor brings, a high degree of credibility and control over finance, but is a scientist himself, which helps, so that when we talk about what we want to do, Trevor sees it as more than just a group of numbers. So he's been incredibly supportive, not just in supporting the operational staff in the business to achieve their goals, but actually because of his scientific background in talking and supporting the ambitions with the investors.
No, that does sound very, very useful. And of course you made the acquisition.
We did. I mean, I should just say we brought in John Handley, who had experience as former chief operations officer in a related business in the sector. And John has been incredibly helpful and useful in really just planning operational change within this business, again on this rapid growth trend, and he was really pivotal in working towards the acquisition of Aurelia Bioscience, who were a discovery biology business, assay development and screening company that is co-located with us at Bi-City, but who will move with us to Loughborough. That was our first acquisition. It was, I think, relatively smooth from our side because we are a growing business with PE backers, but we have certainly with my presence still in the business, and Gary Allenby and Kathy Dodgson, who were the founders of Aurelia, we've been through similar growth stories. All the questions and worries that Gary I'd had within the last 12 to 18 months anyway. So we were able to work together to a suitable outcome that gave Gary the confidence that we shared his own ambitions for not just growth in terms of numbers and biology, but in terms of service, wanting to be science-led as we enter this new sort of 3 to 4 year plan together. And it's been a really good acquisition for us. It's settling into a combined business really well. So it enhances the service offer that we've got, so we can now truly deliver integrated drug discovery projects, whereas previously we were partnering for that sort of approach.
Yeah, and clients fed back that they're enjoying that, and that's what they want to see.
They do. We are increasingly being asked to deliver quotes and design projects around integrating chemistry, computational chemistry, biology, medicinal chemistry. And, for us and for the client, the added value is that actually, because of the chemical development and process research capability that we've got, that we can start to look at that transfer of client technology and capabilities that we developed through to delivery of, I guess around a kilo ultimately of material, which for some clients seems a long way away, but it isn't. And the earlier that the clients start to think about the development of a successful candidate, actually the better for them. So it's we've always thought that was a USP that Charnwood have, it's working really well for us in terms of a market offering.
Yeah, it's very pleasing as an outsider to come in and be part of something where so everyone has benefited. I think you've benefited, your staff at Charnwood have benefited, Synova have benefited, your clients are benefiting. So it's very pleasing.
No, it's good. I mean, it's just you need to we've been ambitious, so we were ambitious about where we wanted to go with the business. It was just taking that plunge and having someone to come in that has the experience of that type of growth, just to support the plans that we already knew we could deliver if we had the right facilities, mainly, I guess, and just backing.
Yeah. So maybe casting your mind back a couple of years, if you think of others that might be in a similar situation, that they maybe founded a business or acquired a business and they've been developing it, and maybe they're coming to a similar decision point, should they be doing something, or maybe there's succession planning to be done. What are sort of the key things that you would keep in mind, perhaps, or one or two bits of advice you might give these kind of guys?
Well, having been through the process with you guys not too long ago, I mean, I think what I mentioned before about finding the right backers that you are comfortable with, just in terms of how you get on, just human nature. Can you get on with these people? Can you talk to, do you talk a similar language? Are they enthusiastic about the business they want to get into? That's all going to help. I think from a founder perspective, it's realizing that, certainly in our case, I'm sure this isn't the same with everybody, but you'll get to a point with a business that you just have to be honest with yourself about what it is that you can deliver with organic growth versus, for example, PE-backed rapid expansion. We brought in the staff group that I mentioned, CFO, MD, more recently Chief Commercial Officer, and they have pushed the business on without a doubt. And we, despite what we might like to think, we're not all Steve Jobs. And I think that there'll come a point where most founders will just have to realize that if they want to create something that is going to be around long term and perhaps become a major player in the industry, they're going to need some help. And certainly we did, and we don't regret any of the steps that we've taken to this point in time. It was the right thing to do for Charnwood Molecular, for us personally, and I actually think for the staff group that we've got, because they can see the ambition that the company have got, and they seem really enthused about being on that journey with us.
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty exciting. Okay. Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much, Steve.
No problem.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for that. I enjoyed it.
Good. Cheers.